Alright guys, so if we take a look at my screen, you see that I have highlighted on this screenshot that I have taken 1,825 shutters. This is my most recent photo shoot from estimated probably I think it was 3 days ago that I did this, and this is Mami Sue here, a model and actress here in Tokyo, Japan, and a longtime friend of mine. This is my first time ever to photograph her. I organized it with her, and we went out on Monday and we shot. And yeah, this is the most photos that I've ever taken of any model to date. And I took so many because we shot for 4 hours and I shoot in low continuous. So when I press the button, I just kind of hold it because she's constantly in motion and she's doing different poses. You don't know which one is going to be good and what is going to be bad. So I try to capture her pose from one pose to the next and everything in between, because it's those in between moments that could be the great shots that I want. So I have so many photos, but what we need to do is go through this. Let me go ahead and close out this screenshot now that I showed you how many shots that I took. Because if you take a look at this one, the number's a little bit different. It says 677, but we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Where was I? So once we get to the point that we have all of our photos imported into the computer, we have to go through them and determine which ones do we want to keep and which ones are our best, which ones are the ones that we need to delete, all that good stuff. You're looking at 677 photos. These are photos that I pulled from the trash. I was getting ready to hit the delete button on this one, but ultimately I decided, hey, I can show this off inside of this episode just to let you guys know what it is that I do and why I'm deleting them. So I did take it down from 1,825 and I did delete 677. Pull these out of the garbage can. We'll show them to you now. This is one of the first shots, probably the second shot. And this is actually a pretty good photograph. If we were to zoom in here, her eyes are in focus enough, but this back eye back there is not completely in focus. I wasn't deleting it specifically for that reason, because I did kind of have this her eye in the foreground kind of in focus. It's just this is kind of a duplicate shot of one that I've already had, and the other shot was a little bit better, so I'm deleting this just for the fact that it's a duplicate. The only difference between this and the one that I kept, maybe her eyes a little bit more in focus in the photo that I kept, but her hand position of holding the Starbucks cup in hand is just slightly ever so different, and I decided to keep the other pose over this one. So this one is trash. This is before I even started editing any of these photos. You guys could see, if you take a look at my exposure and things like that, that I didn't move around any sliders. I'm just going through. I'm looking at the face. I'm looking at the eyes. I'm determining which ones do I want to delete. That's the first thing that I do. So I'm going through and I'm looking for eyes that are not in focus. Any eyes that are not in focus, the photos are going to automatically get deleted. If she's not in focus, it's going to get deleted. And for the most part, if there's duplicate photos, I look for the ones in which her eyes are not on the line for the rule of thirds, the upper line, the upper horizontal line. So if her eyes are not on that thing, I'm going to delete it. Let's take a look at where her eyes are now. It's exactly on the line. So I got the framing right. She's in the dead center. Her eyes are where they need to be. It's a good photo, but like I said, I've already got a duplicate. So this one is trash. I'm getting ready to put all these things back inside the trash again, but I'll go ahead and delete that. I probably had a similar shot to this one, I believe. and that's why I'm deleting it. But everything is perfect inside of this. Her eyes are in focus. Everything is great. And then we have lots of duplicate shots here. Things that I really like. I like when she smiles. It gives her character. I don't like boring pictures, so I like to delete a lot of boring pictures. This is another one that I deleted because she's looking down, so her eyes are not as wide as I would like them to be. Her eyes are not on me, so this is not a good photo at all, so that's an automatic delete. This one is quite decent, but I think I already have something that I kept that is a little bit better than this, but she's looking away, and I would kind of prefer her to look at me. But this is a nice shot. It's not bad at all by any means. And here are some other duplicates. Yeah, this expression's just not working. So sometimes I'll delete it just based on expression. She looks really ginky here. This is nice. Nothing wrong with that, but you can't keep all of them. What I'm trying to do is dwindle these 1,825 photos down to about the 100 best photos. This is another shot that I'm going to delete. Obviously, came from the trash, but she's turned around backwards. She was doing a spin move, and she was trying to have her hair flying through the air. So any of them that you see where she's turned around completely backwards, those are garbage. As you can see, this didn't turn out so well with her hair spinning, so that's a delete. Delete, delete, delete. She's completely blurry in this one. That's a delete. That's a delete. That's a delete. This is pretty good, but the problem here, no, it's not pretty good. Her eyes are not in focus. If you look, get up close to that. Let me change this and brighten her up just a bit. You guys can clearly see that her eyes are not in focus. And it's not just that, but it's the way that when she's spun around, her left earring got, kind of caught up on her chest. I would like both earrings to either be flowing, or I would like them both to be laying down. The way that this is flowing, I just don't like it at all. So that's trash. She's turned around backwards again. Let me see if I could find some other good shots of something that I might delete. Maybe her eyes inside of this one are below the line for the rule of thirds. So obviously I don't like that. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. Let me close out of that. Facial expression there. That's not flattering. Let's go ahead and delete that. Anything that's not flattering, that's an automatic delete. This is her with her eyes closed while spinning. Don't like it. Don't like it. Nothing wrong with this shot right here. Maybe. Okay, yeah, her eyes are there on the rule of thirds. She's centered. It's a very good and well-framed photograph. I just don't like these boring looks on women's faces. She's looking off camera at something, but she just doesn't look too enthusiastic about whatever it is that she's looking at. She doesn't look excited. If she doesn't look excited, why would you be excited looking at it? So this is trash. Let me just pretend to edit a photo real quick, and I'll show you guys what it is that I like. Well, you know what? I already showed you why I would like to delete a lot of photos. Let me just go ahead and delete all of these, move them to the trash, and let me show you the ones that I'm working on proper, and let me show you how I'm editing those. So let's go ahead and close out of this. All right, so if we take a look here, we see that I have 1,148 photos remaining. Still way too many. We got to dwindle this down to like maybe 200 because I was photographing her for 4 hours. So I would say maybe the 200 best out of these. But even if I could still get that down to about 150 and or 100, because you just want to show the best of your work. Anything that is mildly in between, it is going to lessen the quality of your portfolio, and the strength of this model in general. You just want to show your best work and her best features. So this is the very first photo that I took, and it is a keeper. I like the way that she's holding the cup here, and she got some nice paint on her nails. It looks good. It says something. I can't read it here. I wish I would have got that more in focus or took a better picture of her hand, but she looks good. Her eyes are in focus. If we zoom out, let me fit this to the screen. We pull up our rule of thirds here. She's cropped well. Well, she's not cropped at all. She's centered and framed well is what I wanted to say. So she looks fairly good. And I got everything how I kind of want it to be in terms of the color profile, the temperature. I got all my sliders exactly where I want them to be. The last thing left for me to do to clean up this photograph, let me zoom into her face real quick and I'll show you guys what I do to my photos. She's aging a little bit. She's in her mid-30s, so we do have to kind of clean up her face just a little bit, just ever so slightly. I don't like to airbrush things to hell. I like to have my models absolutely natural. The things that I like to clean up is 2 week blemishes. If it's something that's on her face that will be gone within 2 weeks time, I will remove it with the, what is this thing called? The clone tool, the healing tool? With the healing tool, I think it's called the healing tool. It's the Band-Aid, right? So I would use this and I would get rid of those blemishes only with this, but I will not airbrush. So let's just go around, clean up all those spots. Not that many. Her face and her skin is quite clean. There's a few more I can get rid of. Let's just say here and here and right here. All right, let's get this to 100%. All right, that looks quite good. Her face is looking quite glowy. So this is what I like to do. First of all, after I get rid of all those blemishes, hold on, there's one more. Let's get rid of that. All right, after I get rid of all of that, I'm going to come here to the mask layer. By the way, I meant to tell you guys that I'm using Adobe Camera Raw. I do have Adobe Lightroom CC, and I have the Adobe Lightroom Classic. I have everything, the 2022 versions of all these programs, but just Camera Raw 14.3 works better for my workflow. It has the exact same features as Lightroom. It's just, I can't explain it inside this video, but it just works better for my needs. There's some intricacies of Lightroom that I just don't like, and it's when you open it up and doing saving and things like that, I just don't like. This is more straightforward to me, so I understand exactly where the photos are going. Nothing is getting hidden or deleted by accident. I understand how I'm controlling and manipulating all my photographs. But all of these sliders and any functionality, it's all exactly the same. So I have some presets that I made. One is, I call it the iris lifter. I give my things my own specific names. So I like to use the iris lifter on, guess what? Only the eyes. Sorry, only the iris. So we gonna put that on there. Just slide it around. This is going to brighten up her eyes a little bit. And let me show you guys something. She has a little bit of red, like some red veins inside of her eyes. I do like to get rid of those. So we're going to hit K and open up a new mask. And I have this one called Eye Whites. And I'm just going to put the eye whites on all these red spots on her eyes, and it's going to get rid of all those red spots and turn them kind of grayish. So when you zoom out, it does look a little bit better. And we're going to hit it one more time. Well, we already hit the layer mask. The next one is called the eye shine. And I'm going to put this over the whole eye. And what this does is it makes the eye look a little bit glassy. I really like that glassy look when you look at her eyes, and it's almost as if you could see your reflection inside of there. So this is making that glassy look. I'm going to show you guys all these presets and how I made them, but that will be after I get done with what I'm doing here. So let's go back. Let's add the fourth mask layer, and let's do this one, skin brighten, and I'm going to put this just over her face. So any part of her face that was in shade or had some type of shade or shadow on it, putting this over her face is going to brighten that up. And my fifth and final adjustment preset, this one is called the skin smoothing. And this is ever so slightly. This is not blurring anything. Well, yeah, kind of. It's not smearing anything. Just an ever so slightly texture reducing tool that I made just to kind of soften her skin up, because I told you I don't like the airbrush. I like to keep her natural. This is still going to keep the textures inside of her face. Hit that nose a little bit. Okay. All right. So now let me zoom in and let me show you guys what I did. Where can we zoom out to? Is 100 good? 100 is great. Let's go back to this. Mask number 1 brightens up her eyes. Hold on, let's turn off this overlay. You see her eyes are getting a little bit bright. So that does that. This one right here, this gets away the red on the eyes. This one gives it that glassy look. This brightens up her face. You guys could see that clearly. That is brightening up any part of her face that was in the shade. And the last part just kind of softens up her face ever so slightly. Now let me show you guys these presets real quick. Let's go back to the overlay. So for the iris lifter, I just kind of, to brighten up the irises, I use the exposure at +20, shadows +20. That's it. That's simply it. Mask number 2 to get rid of all that red. The exposure is +10 and the saturation is -50. To give the eyes that glassy look, we have the exposure at +10. Saturation at 30, at +30, and the clarity at +30. The mask for brightening up the face, we have the exposure at +10 and the shadows at +25. And for softening up her skin, the texture is -20, so that just softens up the skin. And I do that to every photograph that I keep, and it's going to make for a perfect face. Her face looks absolutely stunning. This is a completed picture, but I have to show you guys what I do in other things. Out of all of these different profiles, I'll go through them and I'll determine which one I like the best. For the most part, I like the camera matching portrait, and this is only for my Sony camera. You probably have it for your Sony camera or Canon, whatever. But you know, the pictures come out of the camera looking a little bit different from one another, from brand to brand. So what it does to my photograph, it might not necessarily do to yours. And you got to take your lenses into account as well. But for me, I like the portrait setting under camera matching. For me, it gives me the desired effect that I want, and I get the sliders to where I want them to. Let me see if I can edit a photo from scratch that I don't have this slider turned on. Okay, here goes some more bad ones where she's just kind of inside the dark. I might want to keep that. I'm not sure if that's a good one yet. Let me zoom in. All right. Are her eyes right? This is a good one right here. Let me take this thing back to basics. Get everything to 0, and let me show you guys what it is that I do. This is always going to start off at Adobe Raw, Adobe Color, and everything else is 0. Let's get all of this stuff off. There's probably a quicker way to bring this thing back to basics, but okay. All right. So this is a basic photo that's coming out of the camera directly. Out of a Sony camera direct is not that good. The only thing that I like coming direct out of a Sony camera is the blacks. The blacks are absolutely perfect. But once you start messing around with some of these sliders that get the colors that come out of the photo, then you're going to lose the blacks, unfortunately. I can get them as good as I possibly can, but it's never going to look like this deep black like I truly like. She has this nice jet black, beautiful hair, and I would like to keep it nice and jet black just like that. But as you guys will see, we will lose this, unfortunately, but I'll try to get it as good as I possibly can. Let's go ahead and hit auto just for starters to get things kind of brightened up and to get us on the right path. You see what it's doing? It's kind of adding a little bit of texture and sharpening to her hair and some sheen inside of there. She's still looking quite good. But I don't think she's necessarily bright enough. This is how bright I would like it to be. So if we can brighten this up a little bit, let's bring this up to plus 20. And vibrance, I want her skin to glow a little bit more. So let's bring the vibrance up to 20. We don't want the saturation to be all up crazy like this. So we'll pull this down to about plus 3. And I think that's generally how I like things. This texture slider is always going to start off on 0, but when I'm doing women, because they like soft skin, they don't like all that. How do I say it? Yeah, you don't want to see all the blemishes on them. You got to soften those things up. So you don't want to soften it up so much that she looks airbrushed and she looks fake, but you want to soften it up enough so that she still has some texture. And yeah, you could see the details in her face, but we're going to bring this down to about negative 20. You could still see her blush inside of her cheeks and things like that. She doesn't look too fake. This is what completely fake looks like. And when you do this, you're going to lose everything inside the background as well. So I just like to take this down to minus 20. All right. She could still be a little bit brighter than this. Let's pull this up to about plus 50. I think this looks good to me. So these are the things that I like to set first and foremost. I like to get the saturation to 3, vibrance always to 20. This is for my lens only. For your lens, you want to have your presets be a little bit something different. Texture always negative 20. Now this works for me. The other thing that we got to do to every photograph, you always want to come down to optics. You want to remove the chromatic aberration on all photos, and you want to use profile corrections if it is there. I don't have it for this Samyang 85 lens, but hey, what can you do? This is what it normally looks like, chromatic aberration. And you want to defringe. And what I like to do is get the purple amount to 10, get the green amount to 10. So if there was any chromatic aberration inside of this photograph, which I don't think that there should have been from the get-go, but if there was, putting both of these to 10 would have gotten rid of that. Yeah, she looks absolutely fantastic all around. Like I said, we would go through here with the healing tool, and we would get rid of some of these small aging blemishes and what do I want to say? Just things that would be gone within 2 weeks. Permanent things like this mole right here, I don't want to get rid of that because that's part of her character. That's part of her personality. We want to leave those things inside of there. You just want to get rid of some of the little blemishes. And let's get that out of the way and put that here. All right, she's looking quite good already. Let me show you guys a before and after. Well, hold on. I'll wait for the end of that. Let's go back here to my mask and let's do the iris lifter and all this good stuff that I normally do. If I can get the size the way that I want it to be, I like it to be at 2. Okay, we got that. Next, eye whites. And let me show you a trick about the eye whites as well. You can also use this to brighten up a smile as well. Her smile was nice enough as it is, but a little bit off-white. This is going to make it really white. Let's hit the layer mask again. And let's do the eye shine. Okay. This is the 4th time. Let's brighten up her whole face. And I guess we'll hit the ears as well. I don't necessarily hit the neck area, just only the face. I don't put this on the hair either, because this already has the highlights inside of the hair like I have it. And I like the black inside of her hair. I'm not trying to get it too bright, so we're not trying to brighten that up anymore. And finally, let's go to the skin smoothing. Get it a little bit on her nose, cheeks. Let's bring this down a little bit. Get around her eyes as close as we could, but not necessarily on her eyes or any hair areas, because you don't want to remove the texture out of her eyebrows or anywhere else. So this is ultimately a completed photo. Let's take a look at a before and after. Directly out of the camera, after. Wait a minute, hold on. One more thing. I forgot to put my profile to the, not Adobe Raw, but camera matching portrait. Now it's perfect. Now let's take a look at the before, after. Before, after. That's a big difference. The photo's not heavily processed and she looks absolutely amazing. Let me show you what it did to her skin. Before, after. Before, after. She looks absolutely stunning. And I guess I can hit one more area here with the healing tool. Man, look at that. That's a big night and day difference there. Her skin has vibrancy and blood inside of it now. You can see the pink inside of her cheeks. Everything is nice, man. What a great photograph that is. Let me show you some of my best ones. There's a few, well, some of these are not even finished. These are no good, obviously. That's no good. That's blurry. We might keep that. There's a few of them that I gave 5-star ratings. Let me see. Where are my ratings at? Star rating. And I think it put my 5s at the top. Right. These are the really nice ones that I like. Even though she's looking off camera here, it's her smile that does it for me here. These photos that I have given a 5-star to, they're incomplete, but they are absolutely amazing even without me doing anything else to it. So once I hit this with the healing brush and I go through and do everything else, this photo is going to be immaculate. In fact, let me just go ahead and do it to this last photo so that you guys can see one last time how I tend to her, and this photo is going to come out and be a 10 out of 10. Let's get rid of this, 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 this. And she has a little spot on her nose there. Why is that sampling way out there? Okay, here we go. All right, so I think I got it just how I like it. Let me make sure that I'm not missing anything up here. Just a few more. All right, she's looking good. On the chin. Right there. All right, that has to be enough. I think that's good. Let's take a look at some before and afters. Cleaned her up quite nice. You see I got the chromatic aberration on. Everything is good. Let me see about the geometry of this photo. I kind of like it how it came out of camera. Nah, this is better. This is, can't tell. Yeah, this is a lot better. All right, so we're going to have the geometry on. I don't like to do too much weird stuff with the auto. I just like to do the level apply only. So she looks really good there. And let's go ahead and hit those eyes. Only trying to brighten up her irises here. And she doesn't have any red marks on her eyes, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip using my next tool and just go straight to the eye shine. Give it that nice glassy look. All right, so there's that. Let's zoom out and let's brighten up her face, even though it's already bright enough as it is. Won't hurt to brighten it up even more. This is going to be my money shot right here. This is my best shot out of these 1,000 remaining photos, so I definitely won't be getting rid of this one. Let's go to the next layer mask and the skin smoothing. Let's start working on this. Let's get on her nose. Perfect. All right. So, photos complete. Let's take a look at the before. You see it's the colors are all washed out of camera. The blacks are very deep. I love the blacks, but it's everything else that I dislike. And this brings more definition to the photo and just makes it pop even more. Look at how good her skin is glowing, man. That is absolutely amazing. And look at those eyes. Take a look at this. I don't want to zoom in that much. Let's take a look at this. Look, her eyes look almost black there. Now you can see the glow inside the brown in her eyes. That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God, she's so lovely. I just want to kiss her. Well, don't tell her I said that, but man, that's amazing. This is how you make a night and day difference in photographs. So, first step, you got to take a good photograph to begin with. You see, man, She is so good. She is so good, and she's framed well inside of this one. You got to take a good photograph to begin with. That is the first step. The most important thing is how you process the photos. How you process a photo can make or break it. That just made it right there, man. Anyways, I think I said what I needed to say inside of this video, and I think we've been going on long enough here, so might as well shut it down there. I'm going to come at you guys with more tips and tutorials about how to get your photographs to the best that they could possibly be. We'll go through everything in details, but I just wanted to show you my workflow as it is in 2022. I've been taking photos since 2011. So that's what? That's 12 years? That's 11 years. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad at math. And it took me a long time to get to this stage where I'm confident in what I'm doing behind the camera and getting everything framed properly, making sure that I'm getting the eyes in focus. And it took me even longer once I started taking good photographs with the camera to process them properly on the computer. And it takes me roughly, if it's a model whose face is not that clean and I got to do a lot of removing of pimples and things like that, those type of photos can take me about 5 minutes per photo to do from beginning to end. But if it's a beautiful girl like Mommy Sue and her skin is already kind of well-to-do from the beginning and I don't have to work on it for a very long time, I can clean her up really quickly and make her glow almost immediately. Something like this would take me, well, you guys saw it, it's probably about 3 minutes per photo. But I'm not about to go through over 1,000 photos and do 3 minutes per. Still got to go through it and find all the bad ones and get rid of them. And got to get rid of all the duplicates. Let me see if I could show you something that I mean. These are almost duplicates. I mean, her face is kind of looking inside the same position. Her body language is completely different. One looks more fun than the other. Maybe this bottom one looks a lot more fun. So maybe we keep the bottom one there. But maybe I wouldn't even keep this one. Her fingers are kind of chopped off inside the corner there. I wish I would have moved her over to the right just a little bit more so that she's more centered and her fingers are not getting chopped off. So I may end up deleting both of these. Here's one where she's kind of framed well. Don't like that gesture that she's doing with her hand, her eyes are, yeah, this is a good photo, but may not necessarily be a keeper. So you just got to go through them one by one and you got to compare one against the other and decide what do you want to keep and what do you want to get rid of. Obviously, those are all bad. This is good. That's kind of nice as well. See, which one are you going to keep out of those? So hard, but that's going to take, that's what takes me the most time to determine what I want to keep. She's too far off inside the corner and it's just, that one doesn't work at all, so we're going to get rid of that. She's looking off to her right. She's looking off to the left. What do you do? Which one do you keep? So it's all little things like that. Anyways, this video has been stretched out long enough. If you guys had enjoyed this presentation and you appreciate the tips that I gave you here today on how to, if my workflow can help you in some way, some capacity, if there's something that you saw me do that you can take from me, please go ahead and do it. But if you do that, make sure that you hit the like button to show your appreciation. I could use that to help me move forward in this YouTube game a little bit, because there's so many photographers on this platform and I'm competing with so many people. I got to get ahead, so you guys can help me out with that. Just like, subscribe, and help me move up in this game. Anyways, that's all for today. I would like to thank you guys for watching this episode of Marc Antomattei Photography. Salute to you wherever you may be out inside the world, and I will see you guys next time. And until next time, peace.